Good afternoon. Welcome to Tokyo. Well, actually, this isn't Tokyo. I'm in an undisclosed location in Japan, let's just say. Yesterday in the afternoon, on March 11th, there was a live streamer. This is something that I do, pretty much walking around the streets in a similar fashion as I am right now. Was stabbed by a fan and was killed. And it is something that I've been thinking about since my wife told me last night. It's been all over the Japanese news over the last 24 hours now, almost 24 hours, and it's something that I'm quite concerned about as a result of, like, there's just a lot of toxicity in this space right now, which is live streaming. I don't even consider this to be IRL live streaming. I started this in 2017 sort of to connect with viewers. They didn't have monetization really of live streams. There was no super chats. There was no memberships and all this other stuff. I just wanted company and to make episodes that I didn't have to edit and get content out quickly to people around Japan, introduce places that I normally wouldn't do. And it's turned into this thing now in real IRL streaming in real life. I don't get why people watch it for hours and hours, but I do this because I hope that there's some sort of theme or story behind it all. But let me go back to why I'm doing this here. When I heard about somebody having a view, it's always been in the back of my mind, because my wife always tells me, you got to be careful out there. There's always a bunch of weird people, but I know she's Japanese, so she always thinks about the negative, and I'm American. I don't know if nationality has anything to do with it, but I probably think about the positive or the rewards more of it. And like, I get a chance to meet with people. People can come up and say hi. I feel a positive energy from people. That's what I mean by rewards. Where she sees the risks of it, somebody might attack you, or somebody might. That's just the way. Maybe it's the nationality or the way people think. In general, I'm a pretty optimistic person, so I love it when people come to say hi. Let me just show you the story here in English so you get an idea. It's Japanese streamers stabbed to death reportedly by hater on the IRL stream. There was money involved, I believe, which is something that makes this a very, I don't know, maybe, I think her Mogami Ai was her name. I'd never heard of this particular streamer here, but she was a Japanese streamer stabbed multiple times by IRL in real life, streaming to over 6,000 people in Tokyo. She was in Takadanobaba. I was not that far away from there yesterday. Mogami was walking the streets of Shinjuku. It's Shinjuku Ward, while live streaming on the Japanese platform WhoWatch. Never heard of WhoWatch. I'm on YouTube. And I noticed that the media, I guess these are older people, they just consider everything to be YouTube because it's the biggest platform. So it's interesting that they're naming WhoWatch. I never heard of this platform. According to Need to Know, the streamer suddenly began screaming for over a minute before a man covered in blood and holding a knife appeared on screen. "Are you dead yet?" asked an alleged attacker described as a hater, anti-fan in Japanese media. This happened live. This is awful. And this is the greatest nightmare of my wife. I think the broadcast continued with all going on, with fans eagerly concerned about the well-being of Mogami, even as emergency sirens roared over the black screen. According to police, the suspect said he wanted his money back, leading to speculation that he may have been a viewer who donated. Everybody should be following Jeffrey J. Hall, who's a professor here in Japan, news-based. He translates a lot of the Japanese news and he gets it out pretty quickly. So Jeffrey Hall, I think a lot of you probably already do follow him. GG Press is reporting that a female voice actress was stabbed while live streaming near Takadanobaba station in Tokyo. A middle-aged man has been arrested for the attempted murder. It's basically murders. It is murder, so it's going to be a case that we're going to hear a little bit more about. But the most important thing about all of this, somebody lost their life doing this. That should never be something that shouldn't be an answer to anything. If you've been conned out of money or whatever, that's not the way to do it. But this, as I said in the beginning of this space is just so toxic right now because of IRL streamers. There is in Japan, I can get rid of this article. It's sickening. In Japan, there is this. It's all over the media. Just recently, we're all hearing about the Johnny Somali case in Korea right now. Legal Mindset, Atozi, some of the other YouTubers are rightfully bringing attention to what they're doing. And trust me, I know my own moderators have told me in the past, talking about him gives him more oxygen. It does not. Talking about him, it kind of kills this, right? I really think that exposing these people really hurts their cause. Lets people know that this is bad behavior. This is not everybody, and this is something that the community in large just absolutely is against. And I am as well. I like to think that I'm highlighting the positive aspects, the positive things of Japan. I want to do good through this. They want to make money by doing things bad, which I don't understand why people support that. They're psychotic, writes in David T. I agree. These toxic people need to be exposed and shamed, Salty Apple writes in. I think that's, I don't have such a big platform, and I'm not the kind of person that does it. I'm a hopeless optimist in most senses, and I've even said that Ice Poseidon, who is someone I might mention here, is really talented. And to have a following like that, you have to be pretty talented and pretty smart. But he's one of the biggest problems with this space, because people follow what he does. He's a charismatic person. He doesn't tell people to follow him. I don't know what he says, actually. I don't watch it, but even the Coast Guard, he's being tracked by the Japanese police, and the Coast Guard kicked him off of a ferry. People reported what he was doing. Japanese viewers are watching him. And I think this is another reason why YouTubers or other people should be exposing it, because I really want the people around me in my community to understand that what I'm doing is different from what they're doing, because I'm looped in already this year as a result of Johnny Somali and a bunch of other stuff that happened up in Hokkaido over the last 2 years. I've been getting I usually, for my main channel, call and try to get permission or access to film a story or an idea that I have, and 9 times out of 10 people are okay with it, which is great. But I'm having people, when I say YouTube, not allow me the access because I said YouTube. They see social media as just a toxic place, and they don't want whatever they're doing shown in that light, because they associate it with the worst possible things that are happening in this space. That is such a sad thing. It's really sad. And I'm trying my very best to try to do, and there's a lot of other people, to try to do this in a way that is very optimistic and very encouraging, to try to help Japan with over-tourism, try to spread out people from going into crowded areas, learn about new places, learn more about the culture, learn about how, some of the things behind Japanese culture that makes your trip better for you, and it's better for the people that you're interacting with here in Japan, the locals. It's a really hard thing to do when you have people coming from abroad that are nuisance streamers, and this all ties in with what happened yesterday. Apparently she took money. We just know, allegedly is the right word. She took money from, or was given money from, a fan who took out the money as loans, who's probably wanting the money back from these loan officers. I don't know how it works. There's these places where you can get money really expensive, like the interest rate's like 25% or something, and they start taking money from your paycheck from work in order to pay it off. I mean, it's like basically a mortgage on your life. And he took out one of these to give to a streamer. I'm not sure why. We don't know why, but he apparently was not happy about that, and he did something about it. We saw former Prime Minister Abe, where he was scammed out of money, and somebody assassinated him. We've seen political violence. We've seen all sorts of odd on the street stuff like this now in Japan over the last few years. So it's something that's very concerning to me. I don't think I'm going to stop doing this, but I probably will do it a lot less in Tokyo. And as a 2 million yen, I think it's about $13,000 according to Jeffrey Hall. Yeah, and the exchange rates. I have here, I think Jeffrey Hall also shared the stream here, so you can check it out. You can see that a lot of people, 6,000 people were watching this live stream. And look at the stream's just going nuts. Like everyone asking, "Are you okay? Doshita no? What happened?" the screen just went black, and then I think the police picked up the phone when it was discovered that she was. Yeah, here it is. The police picked it up. There's no audio, probably for a good thing here, but it's very concerning for people like me. Here's the police picked it up. You can see. I think it was a motorcycle on the side there, and whoever's battery died that was screen recording this. It's just an awful, awful thing. Takadanobaba is a really popular place for tourists too. There's so many people out there on the streets in Takadanobaba. It's on the Yamanote line. It's just amazing. In broad daylight, this happened where somebody was murdered, and it's just not something that is normal in Japan. So the whole country right now is talking about this, and this is the kind of incident. 10 minutes in, let me get down to brass tacks. This is the kind of incident where the industry or where Japan starts to take action. When somebody dies or there's an injury, or not just, someone throwing a snowball, but doing this in real life, live streaming, when somebody dies, this is when legislation and lawmakers start to step in, right? And it gets really strict, and there's a clamp down on stuff. Typically, I don't know if this is what's going to happen, but typically this is what will happen in Japan, where there's an action and there's a reaction from government. And I think it's about time. I've been kind of planning for this. I actually have a green screen. I have lights. I have microphone. I have everything set up to do podcasting if I need to take this channel, which is supposed to be live streaming on location, to bring you with me to places in Japan, not just Tokyo. I might have to go into podcasting or to do that for a while if things get hotter, the law changes. And she died, Stephen. She died. She died. She was multiple times stabbed, and it's my worst nightmare. But I've got green screens because I don't have a huge place to live stream in, so the green screen's kind of neat to have. But I might have to go in and do that and do stuff from this side of it. I can do it to keep the channel going. Everybody knows I had to restart my channel in 2020 as a result of disputes. And this was my main channel during the pandemic because I didn't have I couldn't go out to film the episodes for the main channel. So this was the main channel for quite a long time, and now I'm switching back this year. It seems to make a lot of sense to make the main channel for once. There's a lot of edited stories there. I think most of you will enjoy it. This is the latest episode where I take you to a place in Tokyo where I think 50,000 of the 20 plus million tourists that come to Tokyo, only 50 to 100,000 visited, estimated between the two towns that I went out to Western Tokyo. It's a pretty good episode. You get to see my son as well, which is in my family. We had a pretty good time. Thank you to the city of Tokyo for helping me to make that episode. They were like a co-sponsor on there. But, well, the point is, I really do think that these nuisance streamers, they really upset a lot of people in Japan. And as a result of that, Japanese netizens, and it doesn't take much. Let's just say 100% of the people, nobody would have ever stabbed somebody, seeing somebody right now holding a phone on the street. But if you get enough bad press and bad publicity and enough of the media saying how bad these people are, you're going to get looped in. And 99.999% of the people, there's that 0.001%, which is like 100 people in Japan who are now walking around looking for people that are like me who are doing this, and they're unpredictable and you don't know what's going to happen. So it's toxic, and the percentage of it happening to me a lot less than if it was the United States, for example. I mean, any other country, but because of what's happening, it is something that I am worried about. I am worried about my safety. It's one reason why I don't give the location of where I'm streaming so far in advance, just because it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. I don't actually list the live stream until maybe 15-20 minutes in advance, because I found there was no increase in the amount of people watching by publicizing a live stream a day in advance. I didn't get more people watching as a result of that. Lloyd writes in here, be careful. Thank you, Lloyd. And Asian Dragon writes in here, it is toxic. It has become such a toxic space. I don't know how this happened. But just a couple of days ago, I was watching, and again, Jeffrey Hall is somebody I follow. He's one of the reasons why I still use X. I don't really use it that much. or Threads or Blue Sky or any of that stuff. But his stuff is really, really good for me to see and make sure I don't miss it. But this is Ice Poseidon's group stealing power in a restroom. And I know you're saying, what's the big deal? I already did an episode on power theft in Japan. It is a big deal. Police came in. They saw what they were doing. They fled to Korea. This is like when lawmakers step in, because they see that there's no genuineness in it. And I have to, I'm so upset that Japan did not do more with the Johnny Somali thing. I'm so upset that they did only slap him on the wrist and they let him go. I'm so upset that they did not convict him. They did not make a statement, because that's why you got this happening right now. That's why you got people that are coming to Japan, because it's such a kind culture of non-confrontation. And here's the Coast Guard kicking Ice Poseidon and his group out of the country, off of a ferry, and eventually out of the country. You have to bring a case. You have to find them and arrest them. And this is what's inevitably going to happen. Inevitably, people are going to be the Japanese authorities are going to have to start to step up and do what Korea is doing. We don't even know what they're going to do. I know legal mindset says I'm skeptical. Legal mindset says that he's not going to get a slap on the wrist. He's going to get jail time. He better get jail time. Korea must do what Japan has not been able to do, which is to put this guy away and completely end this nuisance streamer business once and for all. You should have been really strict from the start, which is why I'm extremely disappointed when they released him. After 3 months in holding is not nothing, all right? But all of the apologies was BS, and they should not have let him go. After he was let go. This is Johnny Somali. He went on in a world tour, giving the middle finger to the authorities in Japan, to the whole process, the legal process, talking about the slap on the wrist and letting it go. You cannot do that. A lot of people are saying, who is Ice Poseidon? He's an IRL streamer. I think he's on Kick now. He used to be on Twitch. I think he got kicked off of that. I don't know. He used to be on YouTube. I think he had 700,000 subscribers there. I think he was kicked off of that. I really don't know. I don't follow him, but I know that some of you guys do follow. And AZN Dragon, I'll get to that in a second. I know some of you do follow me, and when Ice Poseidon was here in Japan, I was contacted by half a dozen of you guys telling me that he was in a location starting fires, and there's not a lot that I can do about this, all right? So all I could do is, I had a friend in that town. I called him and I said, there's a live stream going on. You might want to talk with the authorities. Or it was where the scarecrows were in the middle of Shikoku. And, there was some vandalism, and he was starting a fire on private property and all of this other stuff. I'm not somebody who wants to get involved, because I know that not a lot's going to really happen, all right? Not a lot's going to really happen, because there's no law, there's no... Japan is such a lenient country. There's a lot of... And this is a good thing. This is a good thing. There's a lot of gray area in a lot of this stuff. A lot of gray area with public drinking. A lot of gray area with making noise on the street. A lot of gray area, and this is good, because it gives people that make a mistake a chance to apologize and say, I'm sorry, and I've learned from the mistake, and shame themselves, and society says, okay, well, we know you understand this, and we'll let you go. When you get rid of that gray area, then you make it hard on everybody, and there's no more apologies, there's no more of this stuff. It becomes sort of like what the Western cultures are. It's not enough to be shamed. Because we know that Johnny Somali has been shamed by the gangsters, even got him down, made him eat the dirt, all right? He didn't care. And when we get into this and you start to get rid of the gray area and make everything black and white, it's really, really not the kind of society that Japan is. The gray area, I live in that gray area. I kind of test the stuff. Even doing this, I really don't know exactly. But I just want to do something really good. And when I started this, not a lot of people were doing it. Now they are. Ice Poseidon, this is another problem. Mohammed, thank you so much from Singapore. And Asian Dragon, have you got any contacts from Andrew from Legal Mindset? I might have. Let me double check on that. But I know that with the trial going on, he's got a lot of stuff to cover. But after what happened with the murder yesterday, I'm going to dig into this a little bit more and see how the lawmakers feel, and maybe kind of do a pulse check on live streaming, IRL streaming, and what the lawmakers think about this going forward. I really do think that something should happen, but if something does happen, that's when you start to get rid of that gray area. And then when you get rid of the gray area, it is really hard to live within a black and white. Then eventually they loosen up the rules. They did this with drones. They did this with there's an action and then they react very harshly. I got a feeling that this murder is one thing that's going to cause a reaction, because there's just not enough on streaming. Everywhere that I go, there are signs with no cameras now. Including right over there, there's a Matsuya, which is a chain that I believe Johnny Somali was live streaming in one time in Osaka. No camera sign on the front there. So they don't want you bringing in cameras and doing this kind of stuff anymore. Not that you should have been doing it anyways. Japan is lenient. Someone ruins it for everyone. They say even the Buddha loses patience when insulted a third time. I could not have said it better myself. It's very true. And the moment that we start to lose, it's starting to rain now. The moment we start to lose that gray area and Japan enacts laws, that's when we start to get rid of the society that all of you, this is why this is so relevant. All these people in the United States and in the Western world want to come and buy Akiya and live and move to Japan. That's a great idea. But when these people who represent us, whether you like it or not, they're seen as internationals, even if they come from Germany or Africa, India, America, Canada, doesn't matter. They're foreigners here. This is an island. The laws change, and I think it's not good. The murder was a Japanese thing, so it was a Japanese viewer and a Japanese live streamer. I just think that this is going to really narrow that gray area where it becomes black and white. But this isn't just about that. It's about everything. When it turns into black and white, that's when you get a really more oppressive society. You get Singapore, and I would like, hey, you know what, Mr. Poseidon, see how I'm too respectful, Mr. Somali, why don't you do this in Singapore, huh? Why don't you do this in Malaysia? Why don't you go to a country that is a little bit stricter and see if your behavior is acceptable there? No, they come to Japan because they know that they can take advantage of the situation. At least they thought that they could until real soon. And that's the part that scares me. It's not that I'm not doing anything bad, that, I'm not doing anything that would warrant scrutiny, but because I get looped into this, I can feel it. I can feel it. When I was on the street yesterday in Shinjuku, I can feel it. People are like, is he a nuisance streamer or not? I've never seen him before. Sometimes being infamous is not a good thing. Give a shout out to Mom and Thrill YouTube channel. They helping and reacting to common sense that nuisance streamers essentially for Johnson only in Japan, not a promotion, but I want to help out. Thank you so much. And yeah, you know what? I think it's I shout out to Mom. I always shout out to Mom. The thing is, I'm kind of lucky in a way because I am on Japanese TV from time to time. I'm in the newspaper interviewing when something happens, usually good stuff with tourism. When tourism numbers increase, when something good happens in Japan, the Japanese media contacts me for reaction. I love that. That's great, but that helps me out because I do have something of a voice here to be able to get out in front of this. People do say hi to me on the street because of my TV appearances, for example. So I'm not unknown here, but I'm not the hugest YouTuber in the world. So in this sense, I can kind of get over the hump with this, and on the street, people sort of, they know I'm not doing something that's harmful, but not everybody watches the channel. It's in English. So, and I'm sorry for the dubbing too, if you don't, the color's got a little freaky here. Sorry for the dubbing too. That's not always the best on the main channel. Sorry. But I do think though that there's, as a result of the murder that happened yesterday, my God, I never thought I would say that, we all knew that something like this was going to happen eventually, but I do think that there should be some laws that change, and as a result of this, there's going to be reaction. I don't know what lawmakers are going to do, but the Japanese public is fed up with it. They're so fed up with it. They're fed up with these idiots that come in here dressed up in wacky costumes with cameras, putting it in people's faces. Did you ever notice? I'm here alone by myself here. Did you ever notice that most of these nuisance streamers are in packs of idiots? Did you ever notice that? Nobody's alone out here. They're always with a group of other idiots because it's more interesting content. It's not that hard to make a list and not allow them into the country. Put them back on the flight and turn them around. Japan has every right to do that. By God, I hope that there's a Don Quixote. They're always in these packs. Why? It's like a mega Don Quixote. Don Quixote. Protection in packs. Protection from who? Because you're doing the wrong thing, man. That's why. Because you're doing the wrong thing. That's why you gotta be in packs. Because you're doing something stupid, you know that there's people out for you. Because you're doing something really bad. So, I believe that Ai Mogami's fans are going to be holding, and she had a lot of fans. She was a voice artist, apparently. They're going to be doing a memorial for her, and that never should have happened. I don't know what she was into. I don't know, the details of it, but murder is murder, man. Should never have happened, and last night, I was really, really impacted by the news of this and watching it on the media. There's not a lot of information. They're still investigating. There's a lot of... The reason I'm doing this live stream to talk about it might seem like I'm all over the place, but yesterday, here's just some news footage. There was an IRL streamer who was Japanese, and she was murdered by one of her fans that became an anti-fan because of money. And there's a lot of police who came out to investigate, and it just started. But they've got a lot of material to work with, including the live stream. So we're probably going to hear more about this in the coming days. And I know that the country is still reeling from it, because when something happens in broad daylight in the center of Tokyo, and it is because of IRL streaming, it's just become such a toxic thing. It is just so toxic right now. I don't know, I'm not using an external microphone, so I hope massive changes in this space, and I think it's about time, but I really don't know what it's going to be. I think there's going to be restrictions on it. I don't know at what level they do, but the fact that they were so lenient on Johnny Somali, the fact that they let Ice Poseidon go despite him, I'm fairly certain he committed enough crimes to warrant being held a lot longer. You can be held for 22 days, I believe, without any crime as they investigate. They didn't do that. This is not his first time here. He came here for 100 days, causing all this trouble. I just think that there's going to be a list, or there's going to be something that's got to be done in order to clamp down on this. And if you have again, my gimbal's gone. If you have four or five people that are coming here, they could do so much harm in this nuisance streaming space, and you got a lot of people here. Apparently there was a in real life streamer who raped a Japanese woman on the street who was incapacitated. These are allegations, but they're so hideous. You don't hear this kind of stuff in Japan. Yeah, Ice Poseidon had to leave Japan, and this is the thing that worries me the most. And this is the thing I've been talking about. I've been talking about this in past live streams, and there was some disagreement on it. One of the things that he said in his live streams that was highlighted by another streamer, because what legal mindset, what Andrew is doing is so great. I got some questions for him too, but Ice Poseidon said that he made millions of dollars off of streaming in Japan. He said, I made millions of dollars off of you. He literally just says it. This is probably the dumbest thing, and he wants to come back here. He made a lot of money streaming in Japan. In my opinion, this is against the law. This is working in Japan without a visa. This is enough. He should pay taxes in Japan as a result of it. He was in Japan for a significant amount of time. That 100 days is about as long as your passport can go. He probably had to leave Japan because he only gets 3 months or something. So SNS is being regulated from April 1st, writes in AA. There's a level of freedom of speech, but there is an aspect where it becomes so dangerous and so toxic. I don't know what that is, and I don't know if government is in a position to judge that either. I don't know. But it's pretty obvious that you can't have these people nuisance streaming here, where they are making millions of dollars, making money off of destroying Japan. It's gray. Richard in Japan writes, exactly, it's gray. So my feeling is that gray area is going to start to become black and white, and that's when society in Japan gets not as wonderful. I'll talk about it later. Anyways, just a little bit of a note from today, because after what happened yesterday, a lot of strong feelings going on. A lot of strong feelings. All right, everybody, have a good day. I'll be back with another live stream, talk about this in more detail later on. Hopefully, a lot better stuff. I'll be going to Nagasaki next week. So until then, AZN Dragon, you got to do a crossover interview. We'll see what we can do. I think because there's going to, with what's happening with IRL streaming in Japan, Korea and Japan are very similar. There's a lot of things going on. I'm extremely disappointed in the way that they handled the situation. I don't know all the facts. That's why I can't be more critical than that. But I think I'm not the only one that was very disappointed in the fact that there were no charges, and they just held him for 3 months. He should have gone to jail. It should have been a lot harsher, because that kind of behavior just brings in more people, because now you can turn this into a playground, right? Japan's not a playground. Not for that kind of behavior. It's a wonderful place to come as a tourist. It's not a wonderful place to destroy the culture and destroy people and act like an idiot. Even in your own country, nobody acts like that normally. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and take care. I'll see you in another episode soon. Mata ne.